Well, here we are on the fourth map. Eichenwalde. Top left, again, is going to be Carolina Cosmic. Top right, is going to be the red. It's going to be your London Riptires. I am looking forward to more evolution coming from Carolina on this hybrid map. What about you, Julik?
Hello, everyone. Julik here, and I am looking forward to Carolina taking a W on this fourth map of the night.
We're both in agreement there.
Yeah, I think they deserve it, and I think it'll help them essentially get a little to what it already seems like a great night for them, in my opinion.
Oh, yes. As we've been told before, and we've been saying it a few times, Carolina is a new team, and they have never played together. So this is some of the first games they've ever played together. Now, it's not to say they waited until this preseason match to actually go together as a team. They've probably tried it before, but this is probably the first structured one that they've come together as a team, and I think they're doing great.
And I think they have a pretty legit setup here for the defensive side. We have a Ryan on Anubis, Lazy Healer with the Brig, Chunk on Diva, Lumi on Genji, Nocturnal sticking with the Mercy, and Garo on the Pharah. Now I'm assuming that Garo is going to stick with Nocturnal pocketing the Pharah, and Lazy Healer doing most of the healing and not being so lazy on the
Lazy Healer's probably going to get that healing from doing damage, getting an 80 heal over time area of effect, and probably saving his armor packs for Illumi as he's trying to probably flank in the background. On attack for London Riptires, we're going to have the Ryan Zarya. We're going to have Klaus almost getting taken down. Baben falls to Illumi as a lot of damage around on top of the over on top of the freaking roof. There's a lot of rain firing down from Giero, and Hardy gets 2 kills. Dante going down too. A lot of ult charge already from Giero, 50%, and they haven't even gone around the first corner. They need to not go out the front door. There's a second and third door. Go out the right door. Follow your Reinhardt. But anyway, London is going to push forward. Dread has switched off and gone on to a Widow, hopefully trying to deal with the Pharah up in the air. A good boop is going to push Hickory forward, and a boop is going to push him back. Almost taken down. Lazy Healer getting really low. Illumi doing good poke damage. Illumi does get Klaus behind the shield. Lonely Voxel does get Lazy Healer. Right now it is just Mercy healing on the side of Carolina, so they could push forward. It is 5v5. And they're getting past the choke. Giero on top of them and behind them. Giero does get Dread. Illumi kind of flanking in the back, trying to get both healers. Gets Dante and Baben. Illumi in the back. Well done, sir. Giero just finished off Lonely Voxel, and right now it's going to be another retreat and regroup for London. Need to take a deep breath.
What an aggressive play by both DPS on the Carolina side. Giero not letting no counter stop him. Continues to rain from above, and Illumi just tagging everyone on the ground floor.
They are complimenting Giero as any opposing team would by going double hit scan and a Ana and a Zenyatta. And right now the Shatter is not going to be able to follow up anything. A Justice does come out in the back that gets Dante, and now and Lonely Voxel. It is still back and forth right now, though Carolina is still coming out on top. There's only 3 members of London here. Illumi does finish off Klaus, and a Ana boosted Hickory is coming forward, trying to finish off Lazy Healer. One more swing does get him, but Giero is going to pick him out from just behind his shield. A lot of ults being used, a lot of great picks. Both flanking both DPS on Carolina's side is kind of flanking behind and picking them off as they're moving forward. London unable to kind of defend it. I do hope that I want Chunk to come forward and go back and kind of defend as best he can, because right now Giero is almost going, even with all this, the anti-Pharah, he's still getting a lot of picks. Dread saying I couldn't do much well here on the Widow, so I'm going to switching off to the Shield Breaker on the Junkrat. Moving forward, Lazy Healer does get Hickory because he was unfortunately up by himself. A nerf that's coming out. There is no shield. Does not get anybody, but Giero does pick off Dread and Klaus. Right now, Carolina is doing a solid defense, again holding a point and just knocking out them back every time they come forward. Another retreat and reset coming out here from London. What are they going to change something again? They have a lot of ults. They don't have. Maybe they need to wait for Dread to get a tire to kind of combo with the grab, but they do have something. Dread going back to the Widow. They need to deal with Giero up in the air.
Giero already with another ult, ready to use it as soon as the push comes in from London.
Illumi has blades too. There is a Valkyrie. Chunk getting really low. Giero getting hit few times, getting hit back up. Right now, Hickory pushing forward. The rest of his team is kind of still falling back. Hickory's up by himself. A shatter is going to go to Anubis' shield. Justice rains down, not going to finish anybody off, but Illumi is going to get Klaus, and a high noon gets Gyro and Nocturnal up in the air for London. Illumi does get Blade, does find a lot of people. Over half the team has fallen to his Blade, and right now is just Illumi on the point. It is Dante and Hickory up here, and a stun is going to finish him off, and London's going to pull through despite the fantastic effort of Illumi in that Blade.
Excellent ult usage by Dante once again, taking care of Nocturnal, Mercy, and the Pharah Illumi. I mean Garo, taking him out with one ult, allowing his team to take over the point.
Once Pharah Mercy was out of the air, it just seemed that they were moving forward, but not to give Illumi any deck talk. He would killed over half the team of attacking London with his Blade. Dread taking down Gyro. Illumi does finish off the Zenyatta. Gyro getting rezzed, however. Still back to full strength up here on Carolina. Illumi up on the high ground. There's nobody really to get up there and contest except for Dread to pick him off around the corner. Gyro getting the better of Dante on the McCree battle. They are still slowly moving the payload forward. Gyro deciding to jump down. Anubis coming forward, trying to swing as much as they can. Illumi getting pushed back from the high ground from the Zenyatta and the Widow. It's kind of a brawl back and forth there. Illumi has come back. He's got Discord. He does get Dread before he's able to get picked off. Klaus is getting Illumi, however, in the retaliation. And there is a knockdown that gets Anubis on the ground. Lily Vox was able to finish him off. And Dante is able to get Chunk out of mech. And Gyro falls to Dante as well. And right now, Lazy is still stalling back here as a Brigitte. Charge onto Hickory. Uses his ult. Maybe to come in and try and stall as best he can. And a grenade, though, is going to make it so his ult means nothing. Possibly Lazy Healer's going to switch, because I don't know why else he would use that ult.
This is the second time he does a solo ult, and unfortunately it doesn't pay off.
It does not. He doesn't look like he is right now, but right now it's kind of uncontested push forward. Maybe at the very last second they'll come. Everyone's here. Hickory does get Ana boost again. High Noon comes out. Dread taking him down before Gyro was able to get that High Noon. A nerf that's coming out is not going to get anyone. Anubis does get Lonely Voxel. A High Noon coming out for London that finds Nocturnal. However, Anubis and Lazy going to do a lot of damage. They did to a Hickory and Dante out from the side. Dread does get Chunk out of mech, and they are going to defend. Good defense coming
back on the Widow.
And Dread was able to find some picks, finishing off Illumi, and doing a lot of damage from up on the high ground, uncontested. Chunk's going to have to be the one to go up there as the Diva, or Gyro, who has now switched onto a Genji. A lot of pressure can be now done.
I would like to question Dread's swap to a Widow, because not only is there a direct counter, Gyro with the Genji on him, but you also have a shield and a Diva who can dive you.
And a Brigitte. So he's going to need to... He does have wall hacks. Hopefully that'll help with positioning. They'll know Illumi is up there by himself with Gyro. Illumi's going to use a Sights coming out, countered by the Klaus's Zenyatta. Klaus on Zenyatta. Good job. Gyro does get Hickory. Dante does finish off Illumi while he's trying to do some damage up there on the high ground. Chunk finishing off Dante. Valkyrie come out a grab, because get 3 people of Carolina in the grab. No real follow-up. Anubis finishes off Klaus. Gyro getting Dread. Gyro also getting Bob, and both the healers down for London. And that's going to be his very successful hold just between point A and point B by Carolina. Well done. And they all take a celebratory drink the Kool-Aid, jump off the cliff at the end.
Well-deserved hold on the after the first point by Carolina. Once again, I would like to question Dread's decision to go back on a Widow, especially when there was no Pharah at play by Carolina anymore.
Maybe use her ult, wait 10 seconds, and then switch to come forward. But even though it'll be 10 seconds of wall hacks, it will go away if you change right away. But you would know where everyone is. You could see if they made any changes, and then act accordingly. Because again, as you mentioned, a lot of shields and no real necessary target.
Correct. Yeah, you had no angles. You had a Diva that can just block you. You had a Genji that was questionable decision by Dread.
And it's not. It wasn't just him though. So and both teams doing very well.
Yes. Carolina is doing a well defensive job. They're able to restrain Hikari, who is playing once again very aggressive.
With Ana backing him up. They've been doing a good job backing him up, always using the Ana boost on him to swing away.
Exactly. hasn't been able to create that much space because he's feels a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of DPS that's coming down on him when he tries to push. But that's just Carolina, well, from what I'm assuming, getting better at shot calling, and maybe they know that Hikari is going to go ahead and push, and maybe if they all focus him, he's going to restrain himself a little more.
He was very aggressive. He was kind of pushed forward on the first couple times they tried to take point A, and he was getting caught out. But right now on defense for London, they are going to go a Rein Zarya. Very good and very kind of solid standard build. They're going to have his Junkrat to break down the shields. Going to have Dante there on the McCree, who's doing very well getting the final kills. Faust going to hold those Discords, and Baben going to keep them all up with Ana. On attack, we're going to have a Rein coupled with a D.Va. D.Va going to be the more vertical tank, kind of push forward and maybe defend and kind of be in the back a little bit. Illumi coming forward on the Widow, finding that there's a lot of shields, doing a lot of free shots. Gyro does get Klaus in the background because he's up here by the tower. That's one off healer down. That's two down. Dread does fall to Anubis. And they're pushing forward onto the point, knowing that they're down. Baben goes down. Right now, looks like London has lost his healer. Their healers. Lonely Box will falling to Illumi's snipe. Dante getting Nocturnal as a last little bit. He is the only one left, and he falls to Illumi's. A fantastic shot by Illumi to finish off Dante. And
well done by Carolina. Well done.
Carolina pushed
Great
forward.
Space. They were able to push behind Anubis, who was keeping his shield up at very crucial moments, allowing for Lazy Healer with the break to push up. And Garo was just doing his own thing while Illumi was just finishing up kills from a distance.
Now Hickory was being a very aggressive Rein, and it looked like it just seemed Illumi was able to get shots to everybody else because nobody was really behind his shield very much. It was him and Zarya up by himself. Wall hacks are going to come out from Carolina. Baben getting really, really low. Hickory does have a shatter. Dante falling down to Chunk. Dante was trying to flank as best he could, maybe do or be up on the high ground to do some damage. Both shatters coming out, not finding purchase either way. Both charging and knocking into each other. And it's going to be Hickory that falls down to Chunk. Gyro was able to knock off Klaus. Baben falls to Gyro in the air, who has pushed forward up above them to do enough damage to say, this could be it. And it's Dante moving forward. They know where you are, Dante. They know you're trying to flank.
I would like to point out the crucial moment here when Dante was taken down by D.Va and Garo, pushing up, holding up contesting the high ground, which was something that they did on the defensive side, which played out very well.
They sure did. Dante is trying to hide as best he can. He's going to be using that Deadeye. He was found out by Illumi. Justice does not find anybody except Klaus at the very end. Hickory does do a charge, not finding anybody, but there is a lot of damage. Gyro getting Dread off of 2. Lonely Wolf Fox is going to fall down to Nocturnal, who uses his Whittle A. Nerf this, not to find anybody. Anubis gets Hickory, and Dante, who uses the Deadeye so late, is the last one alive for London. And Carolina gets the win. I'm so happy to say that.
They deserve this win.
They do.
They played smart. They knew where to move and how to move, which allowed them to gain all that space on their offensive side. Great play overall. Very play.
Now, Gyro was able to be very, very useful on that Pharah up in the air, and despite London's best efforts to take him down, he wasn't getting taken down. So great heals coming out from Nocturnal to keep him up. Probably also healed up by Lazy Healer as he was getting lower and lower. Great usage of roofs and corners to keep himself alive as best as possible, because he was hitting a lot of rockets. He was doing a lot of damage. So props to the Pharah Mercy up in the air on Carolina.
Overall, great comp for them too. They had a Rein to hold down the main point, the payload, along with a Brig. And then they had a Mercy following the D.Va and the Pharah and the Widow, gaining that high ground, which allowed them to get the second point very fast.
Absolutely great games. I'm glad to see Carolina get that last win. They have been growing and growing and growing, and they did it. Were unable to be countered, and there was great pushes back and forth. Not as many big ult plays, except for the one on Hanamura that comes to mind. Not as many big shatters as I remember from the Boston-Shanghai game, but great evolution, great adaptation on both sides. Crazy Lijiang Tower back and forth. That was a great map. But I'm sincerely happy to see Carolina get a win at the end. I'm going to go ahead and change this little number. Can no longer be a 0. They deserve to have a 1.
Yeah, I'm still not getting over their composure. The brig was always with Anubis, the Rhine,
Yes.
and they were always together. Brig prioritized the Rhine, and then the Mercy was all over the place, being the supportive character that she is with her flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
and that really paid off. Again, the basics, just contesting the high ground, not letting the enemy team take over that high ground, which can essentially shut down any push, especially after that first point.
Yeah, a lot more Rhines than usual. I didn't see a lot of the dive tank compositions for any length of time from either team, which you'd usually see a Winston and a Diva that kind of deal with the high ground or the verticality, which I like to call. And so high ground was a big deal. Movability or mobility was not used as much, a lot more centrally focused, not necessarily death ball, but moving together as a team versus diving and scattering about.
Well, I would just like to point out that Carolina's strat was kind of split, and I feel like that disrupted London's play, where they are a little bit more cohesive when it comes to defending. But they didn't know whether to contest the high ground. Was it only McCree? Was he getting supported? Is the Rhine Anubis was being aggressive against Hickory? That kind of division cost them so much, and they weren't able to fully adapt. They weren't able to prioritize what's more important, and that's what cost them that first and second point on this final map.
So, Julik, if you had to pick one or even two players who you thought really shined more than anybody else, maybe one from each team, who would they be?
Ironically, Lazy Healer.
Really?
His flexibility. He was Anna, he was Mercy. At one point, I think he was Zen. And he played off very well. I really like his Anna in particular. So he will be my MVP for Carolina. And from the London side, I would stick with Hikari. I think he was a great main tank. Very smart plays. Risky, but very smart. They played off well. And it shows that his team knew how he played and knew what to expect from him, thus making them win the first 3 matches.
Absolutely. Mine are going to be Guerrero, who was uncontested and it wasn't just that he was not as contested being up there on the Farah. It was that despite the switches to deal with him, he was still able to survive up in the air. He did so much damage and able to hit those rocket shots. And then that's for Carolina. For London, I'm going to go one of the unsung heroes again. I'm going to say Klaus. I love my off healers. I love seeing Zenyatta's who put the Discord orbs on prime targets. I loved seeing them actually hold on to their ults. I love well-timed ults. So many great Lucio drops as well. Just it is one of those unsung things that it's happening all the time. So you don't necessarily get like big, huge plays, but it is great constant support. So those are going to be my 2 picks for the game.
Yeah, no, great picks. We always show support for the unsung heroes, and just guys, just know that we see you. We see you.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it for YouTube, guys. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff.